All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. I would also like to give double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do rule well. And I would like to say peace, safety, and salutations to the Lord's beloved elect, to the hopeful elect in the 1/3. And I don't want to desire this lesson to be edifying and most importantly exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rachakwadash, and the Wada Abanawa, Yahweh Bashemel Shai Bahashem Rachakwadash for giving me the inspiration to do this lesson. And I want to title it something along the lines of social credit score PSYOP. Okay, and the other day I was using one of the apps that is now made normal, okay, regularly normal for us, all right? And one thing that I noticed was, which it didn't dawn on me until the Lord gave me that thought, I said, damn, when you look at all these apps, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, things of that nature, not only do majority of Americans use these app-based gig economy jobs, but there's also a rating on them, just like a social credit score system, just like China, Moab, just like the Black Mirror episode Nosedive. Okay, if you're familiar with the Black Mirror episode, everybody was based off of a rating that was given amongst individuals. Okay, so Edom, all right, in this I believe they call it fictional, in this or non-fictional, this episode, predictive programming, they showed you everyone was based off of a credit system or a rating system, and that determined where you could live, where you could work, where you could eat, and where you were accepted in society. And when you look at that system, it is literally the epitome, okay, of exactly what we've been saying through the Holy Spirit pertaining to what? The mark of the beast. So, yep, this is another lesson pertaining to the mark of the beast. And this PSYOP of acceptance is right under the average everyday American's nose, and they have no idea. Now, real quick, excuse me for my long-winded introduction. 2 Corinthians 4 and 3, it says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. Now, I've been itching spiritually to do a lesson going into Jakes that know that they're Israelites, but they're still lost sheep. And the reason why I'm saying that is because right now, the majority of Israelites that know that they're Israelites do not adhere to the correct breakdown pertaining to the prophecy as the mark of the beast. And you're lost, okay? Majority of you Israelites that you solely focus on just marriage, wife, children, home, just being amongst the congregation, not having the spirit to care, whether this doctrine or this prophecy is constantly being pushed or exhorted to you, you Israelites are still lost. You're lost because Yahweh Shai, for one, is the testimony of Yahweh Shai is a spirit of prophecy. So having Yahweh Shai or Yahweh Shai having us, it inspires us to constantly be what? Focused on prophecy. Okay, so majority of Israelites are lost to this prophecy while living in this social credit PSYOP. You're literally living a PSYOP of ratings, acceptance, because you're like, well, I need a good rating so that I can keep making money, okay? But then when you create a system that is solely based on your rating to be accepted or not accepted, you now are in a digital trap. And now if you get excluded from that system, okay, you cannot function in society. So majority of our people are still lost, even though they now know they're Israelites, because it says they may have the breath. Yeah, you may have the breath, but or they may have the flesh, but not the breath. Excuse me for that. Okay, so a slip of the tongue. So now let's keep going. It says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. Now, before I continue with this next verse, I want to show you. So I asked this chat genie PT, that's what I like to call it, Okay, I asked it specifically to well, watch. It's I can't remember what I asked. I saved it, but it's not letting me go back to it. It says, yes, there are strong parallels between how major US apps score people today and the idea of a social credit system like in China or depicted in Black Mirror Nosedive, even though they are identical systems under government control, yet that's what makes it prophecy. See, majority of the world doesn't realize no matter what they see in front of them, prophecy lets us know that a mandatory mark through the micro C-hip is going to take place. You hear about digital ID, you hear about biometric, you hear about retina scan, fingerprint. But what the people don't realize is no matter what that they're giving you right now, ultimately, it will be reverted to a micro C hipping that will be made mandatory, and you will have a score behind it. So right now, they're getting the average American people who claim freedom, claim liberty, claim democracy. They claim all this bullshit. They claim all of this whine babble and have no idea they're living in a soft social credit system as we speak. I got another example. Before I dive a little bit more into this, I got another example. Right now, if you want to get an apartment, majority of us, we just rent right now. You're not a homeowner. Even within that, but there's you got to have good credit. Okay, you got to have a certain number to be identified. So now your credit score base is based off your character. Okay, that's what's happening right now as we speak. So now you mix or you add, okay, that mandatory mark in there, you can see how you're going to be completely shunned from society. And that's what this lesson is based upon. This lesson is to show you how easily you will be excommunicated from society without this mandatory mark like you see now. If you have a bad credit score, that limits where you could live. If you have a bad rating on certain apps to make money, that now limits what you can do for income. And I also found out that a majority of Americans, the average American, they rely on this gig economy or app-based pay jobs. So when you look at that and you understand what prophecy is, you go, damn. You can easily see how people will be kicked out of society, not having the right rating, not having the right marking, not having the right required identification to continue within society. And that's solely wrapped around Esau Edom's agenda, which ultimately is prophecy. So now going back, look at this. It says rating and score system in gig apps. Uber, Lyft. Now, I take Uber or I've taken Lyft, and majority of people have. You may, and guess what? You can't have cash either. That's another thing. Now that you see a solely app-based gig economy, now guess what? You can't use cash to book a Uber. You can't use cash to book a Lyft. See? So now they're phasing physical currency out. And they're also phasing out, social trust by word of mouth. And now everybody has an identification based off a digital profile. Just like that. See how easy he's done it? This is why I want to title it something along the lines of a PSYOP. Okay? The Uber to Lyft PSYOPs. Okay, when you look at the certain things that they do, it's like an experiment. It's a social experiment that's taking place right now. All right, it says drivers are giving a rating score, often 1 to 5 stars, right, just like a credit score, 3 numbers, based on passengers' feedback. So look at how they made man rate one another based off of their opinion, and that opinion now dictate your next job, your availability, if you can receive goods or buy or sell. It's all right here. Okay, you're literally living in it right now. You're literally living in a digital PSYOP based off a score rating right now. Okay, and it says passengers also get a rating as riders. So not only the riders being rated, the drivers being rated within each other, but he gave you a platform to do it on. And depending on your number, You can either be con or la, just like that. Just like when the mark comes, just like the jump shot, okay? Either yes or no. Everybody now has a digital profile, okay? Etsy, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram. You see that? And it says a low score can limit driver earnings, fewer ride dispatches, or rider usability. DoorDash, Instacart, Grubhub. See this? Let's keep going. These scores aren't publicly broadcast, but they influence a worker directly earning access to work or priority rewards. Do you see that? Can you see how he has created a system that is literally digitally identifying you, and he put it on a rating system? And if your number doesn't have this certain rating, then what that does now is it cancels you out from access. I see why the scriptures prophesize about us being pilgrims. Why people compare these to a social credit system. A social credit system, such as the one often described in media about China, Moab, involves tracking individual behavior, assigning a numerical score, this is the number of the beast, and linking that score to a real world opportunities or restrictions. We are living in a system that you have real world opportunities or real world restrictions. This is what the MOTB is going to do, okay? Look, in the Netflix Black Mirror episode, Nosedive, every person has a universal, what did it say? He shall cause the world, right? He shall cause the world, okay? Coexist, universal government, one world government, universal money, one world currency, a universal score made up of other people rating them. And that score affects where they can live, travel, and what services they can access. Look, here's how people draw comparisons. Now, wait a minute. It says, here's how people draw the comparison. I'm one person who asked this question. So there's a parallel of the reality of norm that we experience on an everyday basis, that even other people now are seeing a comparison of that norm with other places that call it a social credit system. And you're living in it right now. You're living in a soft PSYOP social credit society. You're living in a soft PSYOP social credit society, okay? Because what got me, and I hope it answers this, because I think I asked this 2 different times with 2 different questions pertaining to the same topic, but I also found out that majority of Americans use these apps. They use these apps as a form of income, to the level of, if they were cut off, they would now be further in debt with their bills that they're required to pay for everyday living and amenities. If they were cut off from these apps, it would be bad, because this is how Americans are thriving, not only with a full-time job, but a side hustle through what they call gig economy, or app-based paid money or income, that they would actually affect their everyday living. So you can see easily how a system is already set up in play mentally, that people now are living in average everyday life. Okay, this is a new normal. See how easily he's a cunning hunter, man. And let me keep going, because I've been speaking a lot. 2 Corinthians 4:4, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not. So you have a darkened mental perception to the psyops, to the cunning craftiness, to this cunning hunter, that you just think is normal because you're receiving a payment for your services. So now you've been blinded or bribed. Majority of people are being bribed right now, and they don't you're being bribed into accepting a MOTB system. It says, the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. Okay, so a lot of our people have been snared. A lot of our people have been caught in the traps by the cunning hunter. There are many different traps that he is using to get you. And a lot of times what you're looking for is something he's not even doing to attack you. You're looking for a physical threat. You don't even realize you're under a mental attack right now by your enemy. And let me just get that real quick. Is it Genesis 27? Let me see. No, it should be 25. Genesis 25, okay. And right here. Genesis 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, okay? Just like the cunning serpent in the garden, all right? So Eve is an easy prey for Edom. Eve is easy pickings for Edom, okay? So you can yell all that fucking so-called black, strong, and independent bullshit you want. Let a so-called white man come up, your ass is easily tooken. It says, and Esau was a cunning hunter, and Jake too. Jake has a subconscious inferior spirit when it comes to Edom because of the curses right now. It says, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Remember, the field is also the world. A man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Or Jacob was a righteous servant dwelling in the tabernacle of Yahweh. See? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? So you're dealing with a very cunning creature, man. All right? Because if it wasn't for the inspiration of the Holy Spirit sent by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, this thought wouldn't even came to my mind, you know? So, and me being a new app user, all right, because I'm fairly new at it. I know it's been around. I remember being in LA, or California, I should say. I remember being in California in 2016, watching people drive around with this weird emblem on their windshield. And I'm like, why has everybody got this on their car? And come to find out, I'm like, oh, that's the Uber sign. And then it transitioned into this and that and blah, blah, blah. And now you all are under a system that now if you don't have the right rating or have the right credit number, you will be hindered at certain amenities that you need, such as everyday living, eating, sleeping, traveling, shelter, okay, housing, and that's crazy. Okay, the wrong credit number can deny you a living situation, even though you may have a job or the money on hand to afford it. Okay, so he's cutting you out from society, and he's making you rate each other to depend on what you can get or what you can't get. Damn, that man is cunning, man. All right, let's keep going. It says app scores influence access. App scores influence access on ride-hailing or delivery platforms. Look, behavior tracking. Apps record how you behave, how often you accept work, how customers rate you, your cancellation rate. So right now, someone that needs a service will look at that like, I'm glad that they do this. I'm thankful. But what you don't even realize is this cunning creature, okay, this crafty hunter, he's literally using the means of trust and behavior as a trait to allow you to accept these monitoring systems, not knowing he's running a psyop on you. You don't even realize Esau's running game on you, man. Okay, he's running game on you right now. Let me get this real quick. This is Psalms 37 and 32 it should be, or vice versa. Yep. Psalms 37 and 32. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. So you don't even know he's sharpening his sword, and you're giving him intel. You're giving him information. I'm not telling you not to use Uber. I'm not telling you not to use Lyft, not to use these apps. We use the world. We just don't abuse it. So these people are abusing the traps that are given as a means of access. Okay? So people are being caught up right now in a social credit psyop and have no idea that that is determining your in and out amongst society. That's literally how the MOTB is going to operate. And we saw that already with the jump shot. And I want to call it what it is, meaning a vaccine, So anyways, it says private versus government. We don't care about this because we know prophecy is going to have the government or the powers that be. They're going to initiate this. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, you can screenshot. You can, slow the video down. Take what you need from it. I just got some quick downtime while I'm on the plantation, okay? How these systems affect people every day. Look at this. A low score on a platform may mean you no longer get ride requests. You can't accept deliveries. Your account could be deactivated. Now apply that to a mandatory platform and a rating system, digital ID, carbon footprint, all right, MOTB, and then now you, because of your rating, like the show Nosedive, you can't board a plane. You can't rent this vehicle. You can't get this home. You can't. Access denied. You will own nothing and be happy. All right. That's a complete breaking someone to where you own nothing, but you are happy with whatever he provides for you while you're still on earth. He's literally turning this place into a prison planet. Okay. Digitally. Now let's keep going. Economic impact. Since gig work often is a primary source of income for many people, a reduced score affects earnings, work availability, job stability. In that sense, your day-to-day life opportunities can be limited based on a numerical evaluation similar to social credit concept. Wow, it's happening right now. Okay, I know a lot of brothers, you use Uber or use this just to make a little couple extra dollars. But what people don't realize is they are literally rating you, okay, on this platform for what you can do in society. Damn. What they call like background checks, shit like that. A difference from China, blah, 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 blah. We don't need none of that. Why the comparison resonates. It says we are already living with behavioral scoring systems, credit scores, app ratings, social media metrics. Algorithms influence real opportunities, just not yet through a single universal score. The technology and data infrastructure that enables these systems exists. See, the system's here. Okay, the beast system is here and we're watching it play out. And majority of people don't even realize they are victims of a social psyop, okay, a social experience psyop. And they have no idea what he's doing right now, okay? It says, and some fear they could be expanded in broader social scoring. In summary, gig economy ratings like Uber, DoorDash, Lyft, etc. track individual behaviors, assign scores, affect access to work and economy opportunity, can limit service availability based on ratings. These systems are similar in effect to aspects of social scoring like Black Mirror's Nosedive, or how social credit is often described because they use numeric, perpetual scores. Influence opportunities based on those scores are obtuse and algorithmically enforced. However, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so there you go, man. Okay, so I asked a simple question. All I asked was, show me a comparison how apps today that use a rating system, show me how that in comparison is like the social credit system in China, like the comparison to the TV show Black Mirror Nosedive, and how we actually are witnessing that play out in real time. You're living in it. You're living in a social credit psyop as we speak, okay? So you mean to tell me you can't wrap your head around the fact of the MOTB operating in society? Revelations 3:10, and you see why it says being a pilgrim? Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So when this fully kicks in, we're going to deal with eviction. We're going to deal with a lack of being able to drive so-called legally. They're going to have a lot of carnal doors shut and a lot of spiritual ones open. This is why you have to be in the spirit. Okay, because if you're in the flesh, you're going to completely get caught off. You're going to get caught off guard by this. Just like the show Nosedive. Everybody had to be fake. Everybody was literally collared and leashed to a digital system. And this number was like an idolization. If your number wasn't there, just like now. Why do you think he gives certain people better credit than others? They literally created the credit system, man. Okay, they literally created a credit system, and then now people think their shit don't stink because their credit score may be better than yours. Fuck you and your credit system, okay? It says, the hour of temptation which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So you can see it. We are blessed to see it. Matter of fact, let me put it like that. We are blessed to see the play. We're watching him run game right now. And he's doing it as a psyop for a mental perception of acceptance to this digital rating system. Okay? So, hey, man, hey, we're here. We're just waiting for the Lord to initiate this major prophecy, and things are going to speed up quick, and we are out of there. All right? We are out of here. So continue to endure, man. With that being said, shalom.